for all of you who are watching on YouTube, I know, and Facebook Live, I know it's really difficult to see Dr. Fuhrman right now, but this is how passionate he is, that he is in California right now, in his car, talking to us on the Lillian McDermott radio show to answer your questions. How awesome is that? So I know that ahead of time, let me know. I can't hear the music, Andre, so make sure you keep me honest. Here we go. Dr. Fuhrman. Oh, we lost your phone. This is going to be a fun show. Yeah. He is stationary.
One of those like,
no driving, no driving. Oh, this is too funny. At least I need to get these, I'm going to start sharing.
It's
How
the
about
middle of
that?
the night here.
I know. You are a passionate man. Okay, I'm sharing right now. I don't know if Heidi is sharing. I hope she shares the video. Here we go.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web.
I can't see you anymore, Dr. Fuhrman.
Now it's all learned again. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who have been listening to the Lillian McDermott radio show for the last 7.5 years, or maybe just started listening to it in the last day or so, welcome back. I'm so grateful that you have joined us. And if you have stumbled upon the show, if this is the first time that you've watched me on YouTube or Facebook Live, just know that I've been waiting for you. I am so grateful that you have tuned in today. And so that you know a little bit about the show, it is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal. And it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends on Facebook Live at Lillian's radio show, and my radio friends, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, I have been just a strong supporter of Dr. Joel Fuhrman, but here's the thing. What you may not know is that he's such a strong supporter of the show. Since 2015, he's been coming on the show once a month. And this today, of all days, for those of you who want to go on Facebook Live, you'll know what I'm talking about. On Facebook Live, you are seeing, I want everybody to send Dr. Fuhrman some love. He is in California right now. There's a 3-hour difference, right? And because of his situation, he is in his car, sitting in a car outside or inside, I don't know where he's at, but in his car to share with us because he's so committed to the mission of nutritional eating, the nutritarian lifestyle, so that all of us have a new truth about eating. Now, every time he's on the show, there's a lot of questions that come after. You know, people are asking questions about maybe that we didn't ask, or maybe they have more questions that they'd expand in. And so I saved these questions, and today, of all days, we have this day that we get to ask Dr. Fuhrman more questions. So if you have questions for Dr. Fuhrman, you can call or text at 407-373-5959. That's 407-373-5959. If you're on Facebook Live, you can write the question in the comment section, and while we're off the air from the radio, we will address these with Dr. Fuhrman. And Dr. Fuhrman, for those of you who have not learned about Dr. Fuhrman yet, then that means you haven't been watching my show, or you have not, gosh, where have you been? So Dr. Fuhrman is a world-renowned author, bestselling, New York Times bestselling author. He's a teacher. He's a speaker. He is the president of, or the founder of, Nutritional Research Foundation. He's also got the Eat to Live Retreat Center. So many things that he does to make sure that we learn a new truth about nutrition that is sustainable, that's not a fad. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am so grateful that Dr. Joel Fuhrman is here to do just that. Oh my goodness, Dr. Fuhrman, it's so nice to see your face. Welcome to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show.
Thank you, Lily. I'm
Well,
glad to be here as always.
I am so grateful that you are. Share a little bit about this passion, because as I'm looking at you, and for those of you who are on Facebook Live, you see all this darkness because he's in California, but yet you made it happen. Where's that passion come from in you?
Well, this is, people don't have to be sick. And we have tremendous human tragedy going around us where people are suffering needlessly. And it's so horrible and nutritional stupidity and nutritional ignorance that permeates our society is just causing mental illness and autoimmune conditions and birth defects, and it's just devastating our society. So we've got to really all fight to get the chance to inform people. And the more people you get informed, they become like a ray of light that spread the message that you don't have to be sick. And now the beauty of this, though, is that nutritional science has made such radical advances in the last decade, so that we really can win the war on cancer right now. Mm-hmm. and actually with the advent of refrigeration and airplane flight, I mean, we can have the healthiest population ever in human history. People can, almost be assured to live to be 95 to 105 years old with their full mental faculties intact and enjoying their life. So nutritional excellence is just such a blessing that we can share with people, and other people can share with their friends and loved ones. And it also makes eating more fun, not less fun.
Yes.
So it's just people that we have an epidemic addiction, an epidemic food addiction that's taken over people's brains. So they think that what they're eating is giving them pleasure in life when it's destroying their life. It's like we have a nation of cocaine addicts who love cocaine but don't see how it's destructive to their humanity, well-being, and happiness. And this is what's going on with food. It's very, very ugly how the frankenfoods have taken over our country.
Yes, and so we're going to answer some of these questions and more with Dr. Fuhrman as we continue our conversation and at facebook.com/Lillian's Radio Show and worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Dr. Fuhrman, this is, I want to expand on nutritional excellence, because we're always, and the word excellence is something that I have swapped for perfection, because I think I had an infection perfection or a perfection infection or something like that. But then when I learned the word excellence, it just takes on a different meaning. So when you came up with the word nutritional excellence, what was the thought behind that, nutritional excellence?
I don't know. It was just, when you eat right compared to the way most Americans eat, it's considered nutritional excellence. Mm-hmm. But it shouldn't be. It should just be the normal way everybody eats.
Well,
we're just eating natural foods, based in good soil. We should have, we shouldn't have, if humans haven't destroyed the soils and hadn't poisoned our food and made frankenfoods out of real food, you wouldn't need the term nutritional excellence. But the way they're eating a diet of nutritional stupidity, and they're committing suicide with their knife and fork. In other words, so nutrition, in comparison, it seems like it's nutritional excellence, but it's just really nutritional normalcy, the way people were designed to eat. Like, would we call the diet that a gorilla eats in the woods nutritional excellence for a gorilla? Mm-hmm. No, it's just the gorilla diet, So yeah, so it has to be called nutritional excellence because how bad everybody's eating. It's really just the diet we should all be eating.
So instead of a gorilla diet, which, this is what happens when I see, this is a pattern that I see with people that are eating a fad diet. They almost become like so focused on like, it has to be this, it's that perfection that eventually just like you get exhausted about the perfection. But nutritional excellence, you give so much variety that I believe that the word excellent works so much better than just a diet. Nutritional excellence.
Right. I agree.
Yes.
Nutritional excellence is a better choice than guerrilla diet.
And you're still funny early in the morning. Amazing. And we're about to get started on here.
I'll be right here waiting for you.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn and grow together. Today's teacher is Dr. Joel Fuhrman, and I am so excited every time he comes on, because as many times as he's been on, every time I learn something new. And this is what I'm inviting all of you to be a part of this conversation. So if you have any questions for Dr. Fuhrman, and especially if you've been following his nutritional excellence, the nutritarian lifestyle, then, and maybe you have something to tweak, this is a good day. 407-373-5959. Or if you are on Facebook Live at Lillian's Radio Show, you're welcome to write your comments at that time, or questions through the comment section. So Dr. Fuhrman, we're going to go right into the asking questions, because there's a lot of questions here. The first question I want to talk to you about, I want to ask, came after your one of the shows that we did. I think it was the second show. And we're talking about isolate. And you've talked about how soy isolate is not good for us. There's a difference between soy and soy isolate. And then there's a follow-up question with that one. So let's talk about the difference between soy and soy isolate.
All right. Well, right. So the question here too also is about the powerful effect that soybeans have to fight various cancers,
Okay.
and how protective they are and good for us. What I'm saying right now is that beans are some of the most powerful anti-cancer foods we can eat. And soybeans is at the top of that pyramid in its power to protect against prostate and breast cancer. But that power for soy to protect cancer is based on soybeans, not soy isolate or processed soy. In other words, what I'm saying right now is it's edamame, it's tempeh, or it's dried soybeans that you rehydrate and cook in a soup. Those are the three forms of soy that have the most powerful anti-cancer and health effects. And those are the types of soy we should predominantly eat to extend our lifespan. Tofu and soy milk are not whole soybeans. They have the fiber removed. And the anti-cancer properties of tofu and soy milk are not as strong as a whole soybean, like edamame or tempeh or real dried soybeans.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't want to eat large amounts of tofu and soy milk. You can have a small amount, because you want most of your soy intake to be even better. If you process it a step further, not just by removing the fiber, but now by removing other factors and just concentrating and extracting the soy protein, now we have a product with such a high degree of concentrated protein without the fiber and phytochemicals that it loses its anti-cancer benefits, and its high protein content now that's been concentrated so much, the protein resembles meat protein, and it can have an effect to raise IGF-1 too high, accelerating the risk of cancer or perhaps promoting the risk of cancer. So now we have a whole spectrum of soy foods, from the most powerful anti-cancer food you can eat practically to one that promotes cancer based on how the food is processed or how the food is been made. So three classifications of soy: the whole food, the fiber removed, and the highly processed soy protein. And the point is, avoid highly processed soy protein.
Very good. Very good. That was I could see the steps and the logic. Now, let's take that snapshot. What's happening with protein of the pea? So we're seeing everything coming out now. And this was another question that was asked. There's pea protein in everything now. And you're seeing pea protein, pea isolate. Is that the same thing?
I don't think so, because the advantage of plant protein over animal protein is not as biologically complete, which means it's the levels of amino acids are not all at the top level, like with soy protein. Soy protein really mimics the protein levels of almost animal products. Pea protein is a little more like a plant protein. So I think that hemp protein and pea protein are legitimate, or how should I say, are options for people who need more protein in their diet, and they're safe options to people who increase their protein. And there are some people who need more protein, especially people who are vegans over the age of 80, 85, when the protein ability to assimilate protein drops. So between the ages of 70 and 90, people have diminishing capacity to digest protein. And some people, even though they're following a vegan diet for health reasons, and there's a benefit to doing that, but if their protein and IGF-1 drop too low, they can become frail, lose muscle mass, lose immune function, and it can actually increase the risk of frailty and even cancer. And so at that point, these extra protein isolates like hemp seeds or hemp protein or pea proteins are probably the safest way to go to give them a little more protein.
And even if you see isolate behind the word pea, it's not taking it out to that point where there's nothing in there and it's now mimicking something that's not good for us?
Right. It's not as well. Nobody's suggesting that become the major source of their protein. It's just a little bit of an addition to their protein intake. Obviously, they're still going to get all those fibers, but with soy, it's different because of the soy protein. With pea protein, and you're still getting a plant protein that still resembles a plant protein. So it doesn't have all the features. It doesn't have the powerful features of animal protein like whey or like soy protein are just too powerful as far as their ability to modulate growth hormone.
Very good. Very good. Great. This is a wonderful question. I want to thank my listener and my followers for proposing this question for you. The next one is along those beans and about beans. And they were they were asking the question, how much beans is too much beans? Can you have 2 kilos of beans, which or a kilo of beans, which is 2.2 pounds? So they were saying, how much beans can you have in a day?
I think that's an okay amount to have a kilo of beans as long as you're 8 feet tall.
Okay. Well, let's assume he's not 8 feet tall. What is a good amount of beans?
Can you imagine? Obviously, the foundational principles of a nutritarian diet have to do with just moderate caloric restriction. In other words, making sure you're not overeating, that you're undershooting your calories a touch. So you always keep your body lean and slim, because any excess fat on your body is lifespan shortening. So people can overeat healthy food, and we have different needs. There are some people that only need 1,000, 1,200 calories a day, and other people that need 4,000 calories a day, based on their bigger guys that are professional basketball players or professional tennis players or something. You know what I mean? So our caloric needs are very different, but all of us want to moderately undereat just a touch. So that amount of beans for the average sized person seems tremendously overeating. Eating too much food in general. It's not that it's a bean. I don't care what they overeat on or what they undereat on. It's not that they're eating too much beans, they're just eating too much food. You know what I mean? They're probably overeating food. And in our population, people have been so trained and developed such an expertise at overeating. They've mastered the skill of being able to chronically overeat. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And they think that amount of food is a normal amount of food. So the question to that person eating 2.5 pounds of beans is that, are you overweight? Are you eating? Are you hungry before you eat each meal? Are you you've been so chronically trained to push food in the mouth when you're not hungry and to eat till fullness instead of eating till you don't need the calories? We shouldn't be eating till we realize or recognize we have a stomach. We should not be eating till we're full. We should not be eating till discomfort. And my concern as a person eating that much beans, are they eating till their discomfort? Even if you're not overweight, the extra calories are not good. So I would say to that person, just consider the fact that you might be overeating and maybe push away from the table a little earlier, stand up, walk around and say to yourself, did I eat enough calories to get myself through to the next meal? Or do I really have to eat more food right now?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm glad that you proposed that question. Did I eat enough calories to get to the next meal? So many times I hear this over and over again. And of course, I'm not the expert, you are. I'm told, my doctor told me to eat every 2 hours. Every 2 hours, I'm eating like throughout the day. And we've done so many shows on this. And the first thing I want to do is like, listen to Dr. Fuhrman. I was trained to eat every 2 hours because of hypoglycemic tendencies. But you have a totally different research about, you have done research on this and have come up with a totally different conclusion. Would you like to share about the people that have been told that you need to eat every 2 hours?
Well, that's like telling people, why don't they live on candy? You know, why don't they just live on candy and hot dogs and bacon? You know, it's the most ridiculous idea to keep your body digesting food all the time. You know, but so we know that it's not my research. It's just the science that we live in, that when we're digesting food, our body is working excessively. And we have to eat certain food, but the more we eat and the more frequently we eat, the more we're producing free radicals, the more we're running our body's machinery, the more we're aging. And while we're eating and digesting food, our body can't repair and detoxify and fix things it needs to fix. So we're halting the repair process. And the body is always trying to strive for repair. See, what happens is when you eat a diet that's very toxic and you build up free radicals and other toxic waste products, then you feel more uncomfortable in the non-feeding state. That's because in the non-feeding state, that's when the body's trying to repair itself and remove the toxins. Mm-hmm. We can't remove toxins while the body's bringing stuff into the body. It's when the body stops digesting that it can mostly remove toxins and put them out of the body. So enhanced detoxification occurs in the non-feeding state. When we keep digesting food all the time, we're aging ourselves by multiple mechanisms. And we know that we know, for example, many studies show that when people finish dinner earlier and have a larger catabolic window at night when there's no food coming in other words, they finished eating dinner at 7 and they didn't eat again until 7 the next morning, that's a 12-hour catabolic window. But a 12-hour catabolic window when you finished eating at 7 is not really a 12-hour catabolic window. It's really only a 9-hour catabolic window because you're digesting food for 3 hours after you finish dinner. So finished eating a dinner at 7, your body's still digesting food until 8, till 9, till 10 o'clock at night. So it's only until 10 o'clock at night, until 7 the next morning that you really have no food being digested. And that is not enough for optimal health. A 9-hour catabolic window is not enough. You live longer if you have an even longer window than that. So finishing dinner at 6 or 5 is even healthier. Or eating breakfast at 8 in the morning, expanding that catabolic window. For example, a recent study called the WHEEL study, the Women's Healthy Eating and Living Study, showed that women who had breast cancer, who had a 13-hour window at night, had a 26% decreased risk of breast cancer reoccurrence over that 10-year period that they were followed when they had a larger catabolic window at night, of bigger than 13 hours compared to women who had less than 13 hours between the end of dinner and the start of breakfast. In general, the reason why people are told to eat frequently is because the quality of their diet is so poor that they feel poorly unless they keep their body digesting all the time. Yeah. And especially if you eat animal protein, the animal protein builds up a lot of nitrogenous waste products, including ammonia and uric acid and urea, that people feel it causes mental fog and almost an inability to concentrate when their body is trying to remove those toxins. So by putting more of the toxins in and keep digesting protein all the time, it makes people feel less so-called hypoglycemia. What I'm saying right now is the word hypoglycemia hypo means low and glycemia means low glucose. And they're not feeling sick from low glucose. They're feeling sick from detoxifying during the low glucose period when they're not eating.
And we're going to continue this conversation off there at Lillian's radio show when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Sorry, Dr. Fuhrman. I noticed that the clock was ticking there. That was great. I was just having a conversation with someone that was talking about nitrates, and you had talked about nitrates just now, and they were saying that beet juice and juicing, they did a beet juice challenge, and they were juicing beets because it releases nitrates into the body, and that's really good for the body. And I'm thinking, wait, if that's good for the body, then why are they injecting nitrates into the meat? How does a nitrate from a beet, and if that's information that is good for us, or is made up information, Why is the nitrate in the meat supplies and the delis and all that? How are they different?
Because the nitrates can be changed into different compounds.
Okay.
And when you're having they take two different paths. They can go down the path, let's say the good path or the bad path. So when you have nitrates in vegetables, the vegetables have phytochemicals, and the phytochemicals and antioxidants transform the nitrates into nitric oxide and other beneficial compounds. When you take them in the form of meat, you're taking them with no phytochemicals and antioxidants. The nitrates take a different path to form N-nitrosamino compounds and other actually dangerous compounds. You're right. It's a radically different path. It's like making a complete about turn and going in the opposite direction when you're taking nitrates in meats compared to nitrates in vegetables. And that should give people a light bulb should be going off. Because when you eat foods, they produce dangerous compounds. And eating ages us, but that's okay, because when we eat these, because plants also contain toxic and certain phytochemicals can be toxic. But in the plant, the way they come packaged in the plant with the phytochemicals and antioxidants, they diffuse those compounds and they turn them into beneficial factors. Whereas in animal products, it happens the other way. It also has to do with the amount of bacteria that the animal products produce in the gut that produce pro-inflammatory compounds, and how those pro-inflammatory and bacteria, and especially the gram-negative bacteria, act on nitrates and act on animal proteins to make other inflammatory mediators, whereas plant foods have a different type of bacteria that form different type of beneficial compounds. It's a completely different world when you eat these natural plant foods.
Wow.
So we're talking here that eating produces free radicals, but those free radicals and reactive oxygen species are diffused by the antioxidants and phytochemicals in natural plants. When we eat foods that do not contain free radicals and antioxidants, like bagels and cornflakes and cheese and meats, in other words, processed foods and meat, or I always say a bagel and a piece of chicken are the same because neither one contains antioxidants or phytochemicals. It's eating foods, it's eating a diet that is relatively lower in calories, but also rich in antioxidants, and that's the secret to slowing the aging process. That's the only fountain of youth. The only way to age slower and to maintain your body's younger physical capacity and mental capacity is eating less, but eating the foods we eat are rich in naturally rich in phytochemicals and antioxidants.
Wow, that's great. Thank you so much. That was it just didn't make sense to me, because all of a sudden the word nitrate was used in such a positive way, and then of course you hear about how the nitrates and you want to buy, if you want to do get deli meats, that you have to make sure that they're nitrate free, so there's so much conflict out there and for every doctor that shares your information, there are hundreds of thousands of doctors out there that are misinformed. And so I see and I hear, so much, with everything that you're doing, and I'm hearing and learning from you. I'm so grateful that you are passionate for what you're doing. So here we go. This is where I talk about the show, and then I will reintroduce you, okay?
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we're heard worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. I'm your host, Lillian McDermott, and it is my goal that we learn from one another. Let's be curious about what is going on with the people around you, with the information that you're hearing today. Let's be curious instead of critical. There's so many people that are just ready to pounce on something different. Instead of saying, let me consider, this is maybe the first time I've heard a doctor say this. Most doctors are writing prescriptions, and that's how they're taught in school, is to this condition, this pill, this condition, this pill. And the doctors that go beyond that and say, what is the correlation between this disease and this behavior. And so doctors like that, I just love having them on the show. Dr. Joel Fuhrman has been on my show once a month since 2015. I'm so grateful to him. And you can always go back to whenyouneedafriend.com if you want to learn a little bit more about what he's saying today. We have so many shows archived at whenyouneedafriend.com. While you're there, please subscribe. And when you do that, the shows will be sent to you, as well as when you're on Facebook, on YouTube, when you go to YouTube and subscribe there. So you can get the audio and the visual, or just the, if you want just the YouTube video sent to you, or you can find us at Facebook Live right now at Lillian's radio show. There's so many different ways that you can watch this show at any time, not just on the radio as you are hearing us right now. You can also watch us and learn and grow between the breaks. And so with that in mind, I ask that while you're there, not only subscribe to whenyouneedafriend.com and to my YouTube channel, but also like me and follow me on Facebook. Share this with all your friends. This is a new truth to so many of us that have been told something that benefits the pharmaceutical industry, that benefits a product. Right now, we are talking about our health. And if you're not feeling well, and if you're feeling sick, and you're tired of feeling the way you are, it's time to take your health back. You can do this. So let's do this together. And while you're at whenyouneedafriend.com, I ask that you please check out my sponsors. Without my sponsors, there would be no show. So I ask, because it costs, it's expensive to bring this information out there. So I ask that you help me and share this information and help the show grow, and figure out ways that you can support my sponsors the way they are supporting this information. And as of course, there's all podcasts. If you don't like social media, you can go to podcast. You also can call 407, call or text. Now remember, I don't answer the phone while I'm doing the show. So you can call or text 407-373-5959. And you can leave your message. You can leave your message on the comment section if you have a question for Dr. Joel Fuhrman. Now, Dr. Fuhrman, while we were on the break, we were talking about the difference between nitrates in food, vegetables, plant foods, and the difference between nitrates in our animal products. It's very important that we learn how our body best works. And so today we're talking to Dr. Joel Fuhrman, who is world-renowned, New York Times best-selling author. I mean, you find him in Dr. Oz. You can find him just about anywhere. He doesn't need to be on my show, but he's so passionate about everything, all the information, getting the truth out there, that he is willing to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to be on the Lillian McDermott radio show and do the show in his car. So thank you, Dr. Fuhrman.
You can find me freezing.
The what?
You can find me freezing in my car in Los Angeles. It's so cold in Los Angeles. It's like Minnesota here, this week.
You're kidding me, really?
Oh, it's freezing here.
And you're in your car doing this because you didn't want to wake up the people where you are. You're just a very kind man. So thank you so much. Now we're going to shift gears. A young man, I don't know where he's from, but his last name is Galani. He writes that he's been suffering with childhood MS since the age of 13, and now has deteriorated to the point of using a scooter instead of walking at age 25. I found Dr. Fuhrman 1 year ago, and I went vegan and noticed drastic improvements like stationary dancing, but I want to know how to deliver the finishing blow to know if there is a relationship between diet and pediatric MS. So if you'd like to share anything about how he can just go beyond where he's at today. He's been working with Nutritional Excellence as a nutritarian, but he wants to know what else he can do and the correlation between MS and perhaps maybe pediatric nutrition.
Well, I'm not sure what he's doing. You know, he said he used the word vegan. I didn't use the word nutritarian. I'm not sure, but
Correct. I understand.
you know, on my website at drfuhrman.com, in the member center, I have a position paper on my protocol for autoimmune disease. And with multiple sclerosis, it's an autoimmune condition. And I have literally scores, maybe even 100 people who've made recoveries from MS, complete recoveries that don't have MS anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that said, there are various types of MS, and there are some types that are more severe and more debilitating than others. And his early life, the fact that he got it very young in life and is confined to a wheelchair means that he's got more neurologic damage and more, you know, so I have seen some cases of MS that came to me and stayed with me for many, many months because they were wheelchair confined as adults and couldn't walk. And those did not get better because their case was too advanced to reverse itself at that point. So what I'm saying right now is that there are some cases of MS that can get to a point where the damage can become irreversible. But I've seen so many cases of MS reverse themselves, and I've only seen a few cases that have not been reversed. In other words, maybe I've seen 100 cases that are reversed and 2 that have not been reversed because they were so advanced.
The odds are in the favor of the individual who is making a commitment to nutritional excellence.
That's right. And they can communicate with me and try to tweak the program right through the Ask the Doctor forum and in the member center at drfuhrman.com. Myself and my medical staff can give them further advice. And I don't know if this person with this type of MS can make a complete recovery, but we do know that we can help him get better to a degree, and prevent it from getting worse. In other words, we can certainly help him, but whether he can be one of those people that are completely well, that's doubtful, or I'm not sure about that because he's already he already is not mobile and not ambulatory. You follow me? He's got some, maybe has some advanced disease.
Yeah, well, I've interviewed Dr. Terry Walls. I don't know if you know who she is, but she was also in a wheelchair, and she now walks, and she is a big proponent to a healthier lifestyle, and so
I don't think her right. I've heard about that, but if I'm thinking correctly, which I could be wrong, I don't think that the protocol that she or those people are giving are as aggressive or as carefully designed or as effective as the protocol that I've devised for multiple sclerosis, lupus, scleroderma, psoriasis, colitis. In other words, I think that my 30 years of dealing with these very sick people and tweaking this protocol makes it even more effective. Even though some people get well from MS from protocols that aren't quite as aggressive, you might as well do the one that has the most possibility of reversing it.
Absolutely. So let's talk.
Because a lot of times just the vegan diet makes people with autoimmune disease get better. But it's not as effective for lupus and psoriasis and MS as going all the way to a nutritarian diet and doing the juicing and the fatty acids and the what I'm saying, and the extra flax seeds and all the things, and the green vegetables and the smoothies. We're a little more targeted at trying to fix the immune system and get the body to fight this off better.
Okay, so with a nutritarian lifestyle, like for children, for example, we're talking about MS with a child. Are there any differences in nutrition? And we only have like a minute left in this segment before we go off the air. But with children, is there anything in particular that you would like to point out that we'd be concerned about?
No, it's just that we all recognize that as you move your diet towards a vegan diet or removing animal products, you also lower certain nutrients in the diet like DHA and, of course, zinc and potentially iodine and K2. And that's where we just want to make sure the supplementation is targeted to make sure we're not weakening part of the immune system as we're removing the animal products. And the particular nutrient we're talking about now is making sure we have zinc adequacy in these people with autoimmune conditions too. So it's making sure we have fatty acid adequacy with sufficient DHA, which should be and EPA, which should be supplemented, and making sure they have vitamin D, B12, and zinc and iodine. Those are the main nutrients we're concerned about.
And that's probably one of the reasons why there's such a divide between the vegans and people saying, vegans, that's not totally, because maybe they're not even doing the B12s and the DHA and the EPAs. So this is a conversation we're going to continue off the air because there's a lot of questions on Facebook Live right now for B12, and we're going to continue our conversation when we return worldwide with Dr. Fuhrman at Lillian's radio show on Facebook and at whenyounneedafriend.com and on the radio, and we'll be right here waiting for you. Okay, so you guys are asking these questions. Thank you so much, Sick, for asking your question. You're just saying there's so little information on this topic. Should I give B12 and DHA, EPA or not? I'm a little worried when it comes to my kids. And of course, he has a child that's 9 years old. So what would you say is the balance there, Dr. Fuhrman?
I'm not sure what the person is saying. If you're not going to give a child B12 and DHA, then you're potentially risking. Then you're risking their health.
He wants to. He wants to know how much, because there's.
How much?
Yes, how much?
Oh, okay. Well, we recommend people take around 50 micrograms, 50 to 250, or 50 to 200 in that range of B12, because vegans need more than people eating animal products all the time. So the RDI might be 5, but we're reckoning 10 times that, like 50 micrograms of B12 a day. Mm-hmm. As far as the EPA DHA, we're recommending the EPA plus the DHA should be between 200 and 300 a day, in that range. 220, 250. So you don't need much. And the same dose can be used for children and adults.
Okay, so there's no difference. Thank you so much for asking that question, Cersei. Let's see what she's asking, because my font is really small. I'm transitioning. My 5-year-old daughter wanted to know what an ideal meal plan looks like and what kind of vitamins should she take. I've heard about the spray from B12, the spray. I don't know what that is.
There's a spray B12, but I'm suggesting that, yes, I'm suggesting that to be most responsible and conservative, that we want to give people not only B12, but also the DHA, a little extra zinc and iodine, vitamin D and K2, things that are not in optimal ranges on a vegan diet for those children that are being raised vegan. So we want to make sure they're not low in iodine, for example, or not low in vitamin D, or not low, unless they're out getting a lot of sun. But the bottom line is that it's probably, I do have a well-designed, properly designed supplement made for people who are following healthy diets, not taking the synthetic garbage like folic acid that people and the kids should not be taking. So I do have a vitamin for children called Pixie Bites that they can go and look at drfuhrman.com. Pixie Bites.
Pixie Bites. You can also find it at whenyounneedafriend.com. His logo is on there. You can click on it if it's easy. And so Cheryl, hey Cheryl, I'm so glad that you're watching today. She says, "Dear Dr. Fuhrman," how much time do we have, Andre? Let me see. I don't want to ask this question now if we don't have a lot of time. Andre, how much time do we have before we go on the air? I don't know. Okay, I'll wait for Andre to respond in a little bit. Okay, it says, "Dear Dr. Fuhrman, we have been following your direction for over a year when my husband had a stent put in. His cardiologist is very supportive," and they didn't know about you before that. So then he had the cardiologist put a story. "His cardiologist is very supportive of our diet. She eliminated," I'll just read this and I'll recap it. Hold on.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again,
have to address that one, Cheryl, later. Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott radio show, where we always learn and grow together. Today's teacher is Dr. Joel Fuhrman. Normally he is in the middle of the week, but today we are having him right off the bat, getting started and learning this new truth with Dr. Fuhrman. I'm so grateful to you, Dr. Fuhrman, for everything that you do to create awareness. While we're off the air, you talked about children and B12, if you're going to put a child on a vegan diet. Is there anything that you want to alert parents that have children who are also vegan? Is there anything that you'd like to alert us other than what you talked about off the air?
Well, certainly we want to make sure that people who are vegan are properly supplemented. We talked about how a vegan diet, you only absorb about 20% of the zinc from plant foods compared to 80% from animal products. So we want to make sure that people are that we have the proper supplementation to at least get the level of nutrients that we to the RDI in the absorption, the right absorptive range. So we're talking about using B12, making sure people have vitamin D adequacy, which is especially living in northern climates. And because vitamin D deficiency can be an issue for some people, not having dairy or things that are vitamin D fortified. And then, of course, we're talking about zinc, B12, vitamin D, iodine. If you're not using iodinated salt in processed foods or seaweeds or seafood, we want to make sure there's a source of iodine in the diet as well, or in the supplements, a low dose. And so we're just trying to make sure that we don't make a mistake and cause any harm to people following a vegan diet, because otherwise it indicates that the closer you go to a vegan diet, the slower you age, and it gives you increased propensity to live a longer life. It's actually, but we want to make sure it's properly, it's conservatively and carefully supplemented, not to create any deficiencies.
Yes.
And then we want to make sure that we're designing a diet that's protein and fat adequate. And that means including nuts and seeds in the diet, and beans and greens and all, the full and intact grains, and not eating processed foods, not having oils, not diluting the nutrient capacity of the diet, and give people whole natural foods, beans, nuts and seeds, green vegetables, having the right variety of food in the diet to make sure you're getting everything you need.
Very good. Very good. So Cheryl wants to know, and Cheryl, thank you so much for your question. Not sure what happened, but I am back on the air. I don't know if you missed me there for a second, but the question is that let me just, can you guys hear me? I just want to make sure that you can hear me. Okay, so so the doctor basically, this is the one I was saying that had a stent, and the doctor wants to get them below a certain amount. They want to, and I can share with you a little bit more off the air, but he hasn't been increased. He's had his medications decreased. And so there's an inflammation in the body, and they want to make sure that instead of taking medication, to take turmeric, resveratrol, and boswellia. Are you familiar with any of that?
Of course, I'm familiar with those things, but it's the quality of the diet that's going to lower your level of inflammation. You can't lower your level of inflammation by taking those supplements. And I'm not really sure. I think what you're saying is that the doctor wants to keep
they want to lower the LDL.
Turmeric and boswellia and those things will not lower their LDL like a medication can. But on a nutritarian diet, their LDL should be extremely favorable. In most cases, they don't need the statin drug. The statin drug makes things worse, actually. And their LDL, because when you follow a nutritarian diet, you simply do not have oxidized LDL. And it's the oxidized LDL that's the bad factor. And that's what the statin drug is trying to lower, but it's not as effective as a nutritarian diet at lowering it. Your oxidized LDL is better on a nutritarian diet. So once their LDL is below 100, they don't need the statin drug anymore. The vast majority of cases, it easily gets below 100 eating this way.
Okay. So right now the LDL is 130, and the medication, it's up to, let's see, this month it was up to 90, and she won't remove this medication until it's below 70. What do you have to say to that?
Below 70 on a statin drug is equal to about 100 on a nutritarian diet, because of due to the non-oxidized LDL. So it's sufficiently, but you're saying that they're still below 130. They've got to tweak their diet or do it longer or lose more body weight. I don't know if the person's still overweight. Don't forget, the LDL cholesterol is not as risky as being extra fat having extra fat on your body. The most important thing is getting your body fat to the most favorable spot. That's the main thing. The problem with the statin drug is they can prevent fat loss and increase glucose, making you prone to diabetes and making you fatigued so you can't exercise and making you gain weight. Statin drugs make you gain weight. It makes it harder to lose weight. And the most important thing is to get the weight off. So we have to work with this person to make sure that the body fat is low enough. When the body fat is low enough, then their LDL will probably come down, and then they won't need the statin drug.
Very good. Very good. Okay. So the next question we have is B12. There are different kinds of B12. There's the methylcobalamin, and then there's what's the other one called?
Cyanocobalamin. It doesn't matter. There's no real definitive evidence that one is better than the other.
Okay.
They both work.
They both work. Okay. So then the next question is zinc and iodine. Which form is better, a capsule or liquid? And they can get that. They can get on drfuhrman.com, or when you need a friend.com, they can click on your icon, right?
Yes, I make it convenient and easy for people. They don't have to overthink this. So I make it so people who are following my program know what I want them to take. So I made them a multivitamin that's just designed for a person eating healthfully and not giving them stuff they shouldn't eat or shouldn't be taking. And it doesn't matter whether you take liquid or powder. That's all just marketing, because your body absorbs what it needs and doesn't absorb what it doesn't need. You don't want to force absorption. So you don't have to spray it in your body. You don't have to put it under your tongue. You don't have to take it liquid or solid. It doesn't matter. As long as you're taking high quality materials made from natural ingredients, you're going to be fine.
Very good. Okay. So with that in mind, I want to talk about the Nutritional Research Foundation. And for women who are out there listening, who want to participate in this foundation, can you share a little bit about the Nutritional Research Foundation, Dr. Fuhrman?
Yes, the Nutritional Research Foundation is a nonprofit 501c3, and we accept donations to help fund studies on nutritional research to demonstrate that people can reverse and prevent disease and live longer through through the right type of eating type. So we're doing nutritional research, and we have people that are supporting us to help us do these projects. One of the main projects we're doing is the Nutritarian Women's Health Study, which is spearheaded out of Northern Arizona University. And we recruit women to join from all over the country. They have to be Americans, though. We can't take people from other countries to join this study. And they can go to nutritionalresearch.org, and they can click on the Nutritarian Women's Health Study and learn more about it, because maybe if they don't want to donate anything or can't donate, they can still join the study and be a participant in that project, and they can donate by supplying their data. And so when you're a participant in that study, you submit your data about yourself each year. You're surveyed. And over the years, we're tracking these women to show how long they live and how low rates of breast cancer they get. But these women have all pledged to be eating G-bombs every day for the rest of their life.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about the G-bombs. Yeah, we haven't even talked about G-bombs today.
Right. So in other words, we're tracking the health outcomes of healthy women. And next year, we're starting a Nutritarian Men's Health Study to track
wonderful.
men as well. Yeah, so we're really hoping, and I hope people support the Nutritional Research Foundation, because we're doing wonderful work and really is going to change the face of healthcare in America if we can get these studies out and show them what we've accomplished.
Wonderful. Dr. Fuhrman. And then, of course, I want to talk about the Eat to Live retreat. I want all of you to know that Dr. Fuhrman has a place in California and San Diego that you can go to if you are wanting to immerse yourself in this kind of lifestyle, so that you can learn, breathe, and eat all day long, and have Dr. Fuhrman's guidance as well. And you can also, there's so many different ways that Dr. Fuhrman is set up to help, and that's another one of it. So Dr. Fuhrman, thank you so much. I know you're freezing in your car, and I really do appreciate your passion.
Oh, thanks, Lily. Well, that was it. So wishing all these people listening great health, and really it's so much fun. It's so exciting. It's such a blessing to take great care of your health with great tasting food.
That's right. So it's time to take your health back. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Oh boy. Okay. So I know, Dr. Fuhrman, normally we ask questions at the end, but I know that you're cold and I don't want to keep you in longer. I want you to go back and rest so that next month we can answer more questions. Thank you so much, Dr. Fuhrman.
Thanks, Lily.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And for those of you who are watching today, thank you so much for your questions. It is so, all you have to do to participate in the studies is go to drfuhrman.com. And I so want to encourage you to make a decision to be a part of the solution. And so another way that you can make a decision to be a part of the solution is to share this information. Like us, share us, mention it to your friends that you can join us at Facebook Live whenever it is that you would like to learn a new truth. And so today, with Dr. Fuhrman and being able to learn so much from him today, and all the questions that you ask on Facebook Live, whatever we didn't ask this time, I make a copy of it and add it to my list of questions to ask in the future. Sometimes I share the names of the people, and sometimes I don't share the names of the people, just to protect, because there's so many different places that if it's a private message, I make those decisions depending on the situation. And so I hope that this information has been powerful for you and empowering to you. All I ask is that you help me grow the show, share these videos, like me, and YouTube as well, and Facebook.com. Let's see, what do we have here? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining the broadcast today. And I look forward to our next conversation. So right now, I'm going to say goodbye to you on Facebook Live and stop the live stream. See ya. And because I can only do one thing at a time, I always leave Facebook for the end. And YouTube for the end. And I am just going to stop the recording now as well. So thank you so much for watching. Please share this information and help us grow the show.